Yeah, so we've been running for 6 years this year. Started out in the regional New South Wales, in a little place called Gerringong, a beach town just south of Wollongong, the Bettagong we call it. And yeah, it's a pretty nice spot. It's a little bit similar to here, Wellington, Peninsula. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. But they're lawny, I reckon.
Yeah, actually.
So why did you start there? Is that kind of really...
I grew up down that way, in Gerringong.
I think I was waiting for like 2 more people. I'll go find them.
Oh, sure. No
Yeah.
worries. I grew up down there, and Gerringong is halfway between Sydney and Canberra.
Yeah.
And also we have a pretty major defence presence down our way, and that's where a lot of our major work goes from. So just
Right.
strategically, it's the easiest position.
Mm.
And it's a bit of a postcode tax because it's quite an affluent area as well. So compared to everything else in the region around that area, it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Where the business name
Hill Hilaire, so my last name is Hilaire.
from?
And then also,
Started out flying drones, essentially. So.
yeah, one part of the company is Hill, which is ground based, which is what we're kind of doing today, and the other side of it is air, which is aerial based. So
Yeah, which is
trains and
big
all those things. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably about 30% of our work is
Really?
really drone work,
Incredible.
and if not growing. So we do a lot of specialised drone works, flying larger airframes, night flying, and that type of stuff.
Mm.
Is that from defence too, or is that?
Yeah, it's a mixture. Defence, lots of
Started. I'll get them to come in after.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, major work projects, civil projects, surveying, councils, it's kind of everything.
Mm.
Anything that you could do on the ground, if you're in a large area, you're basically doing it with a drone now. It's like a magnitude cheaper to do it to the drone.
Yeah.
Defence is getting harder and harder because they've just put a massive ban on DJI products because of China and everything that's happening. So yeah, it's a whole lot of can. Yeah, so that's us in a nutshell. What we thought we'd do today in terms of giving you guys a bit of a hands-on experience on what it is typically like to be on camera in terms of a video aspect, not so much photo. Photo, again, is a whole other type. And there's a whole, we have photographers on staff, but we're not a photography company by any means. We're mainly in video and storytelling, which is what we do here. So the setup we have today is a 2-camera, 3-light interview style setup. So you're actually not even, the whole game goal of today is to not look at the camera. You're talking to someone.
Right.
It's just like an interview. The camera's there as a second person in a conversation. So
Learning how to, I guess, imagine the cameras aren't there, just focus on the topic that you want to talk about, visualizing the audience who you want to convey it to, and just engaging with the interviewer and understanding how to answer the questions properly. So the biggest part is generally repeating the question when you answer is really important because it provides the context for the interview and the assembly of the video and the edit later on. Because if you're just saying, we do heavy machinery and that sort of thing in so and so, you need to provide a reason why you're saying that.
or if you're doing like a brainstorming, like, do you love your job? And you go, yeah, I do.
Exactly.
There's not going to be any prompt for that in the video
Yeah.
at the end, so that's how do you know what's being said? And typically, depending on the style of the shooting, the interviewer's audio isn't going to be in the video. So you've got to remember that your audience that are actually going to be watching that piece need to know what you're actually talking about. And it also helps you, if you reiterate the question in mind and then say it, it'll make your conversational flow a lot better.
Buys you more time.
Yeah, kind of gives you a pause.
So you share the first part of your response should be, do I love my job? Is that what you
Yeah, well, say the question was, what's your most favourite thing you like about your work?
Right.
Okay, the most favourite thing I love about my job is. So like, like when you're back at school, it's in English, you always repeat the question, your answer.
Great, thank you.
It's the biggest way to think about it. And even if it's not part of that type of training that you're doing, it, like you said, it gives you that time to go, okay, what did the person actually just ask me just then?
Yeah.
Go with it. Another hot tip is don't feel like you have to talk and get everything out and be really fast. You actually have to talk slower than what you would normally talk in a conversational setting. Because people have to be able to ingest what you're saying, watching the video. Hi mate, sorry. I'm Trent, this is Callum.
Des, I'm a little bit late. So
No, that's right. You didn't miss anything fancy, it was just our background. So you need to be able to talk slowly, consistently, and then be mindful of your tonality depending on what you're trying to convey, whether if it's financial stuff or things like that, it's pretty monotone, pretty bland, but if you're trying to announce something, you've got to be a bit more energetic, or it's a sad tone. There's just different tonalities you do, but typically if you've got a good interviewer, they'll bring them out of you, and it shouldn't feel like you have to speak a certain way.
It's good to take your time, pace yourself when you're talking, so if you make a mistake, you can stop and just go back to the start of the sentence, and that flows much better. Yeah.
There's arguments to and fro for the next piece, but in terms of interviewing, we typically don't give our clients or the people we're interviewing questions prior. We will give them, hey, here's the style and the brief and the topics we're going to talk about, but I don't like to give people the exact questions, especially if we're doing this style of interview, because they'll just reverse it too much and they become a robot in front of the camera. There's no emotion, there's no thing, then they get caught up in their head if they say the wrong thing, and it ends up just taking an extra 2 hours to do an interview that should have only taken 20 minutes. But then we have some engineers that will not get in front of camera unless we send the questions to them like 2 weeks.
I was going to say, you must come across that when people want to see.
Yeah, some do, some don't. In experience, we find if you don't, people are way more genuine in their response. And again, depending on the style of video and how specific, if there's like really technical specifics that you need to state, you don't need to be 100%. It's more about what you're trying to convey and the messaging rather than the exact technical specs of what you're trying to tell.
And in that case, you can use a teleprompter with the script.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't do a conversational interview if you were really trying to convey technical speech or technical jargon. You would do it straight to camera because you're talking directly to the viewer. You don't want to, because you'll find in this type of interview, you're actually talking, like the camera's here, you're talking like this. Yeah. It's a lot more inviting for someone to watch, but they're not going to take in anything that you use to tell them that's really critical. So you want, you're going to go here and talk straight in front. These are like the top 5 things in terms of being why this type of interview is the best. It engages in a natural flow, which just is how humans are used to talking. It's how we can conversate with each other, so it makes it feel like it's heaps more natural for yourself and for the viewer. Looking down the barrel of the camera and looking into someone's soul on the other side of the screen, depending on what it is, can be pretty daunting, especially if you're not media trained, like you said, you don't know how to adjust your flow and your tonality. They also need to be interactive. You kind of sit, you're comfortable, you're there, you can move your hands, you can laugh, you can chat, you can jump around, it doesn't really matter. As long as you kind of don't cross the black lines that we put in there, because they're focus lines, you're sweet.
Right.
So if you move side to side and a little bit back, but as long as you don't go any forward than that, you're good. So they're not just for show, they do actually serve a purpose.
I feel like being on a movie set when you sit on the seats. It's kind of daunting, but yeah, gonna just try to imagine what the final output will look like and who your audience is, and
And the 2 camera setup is for one is for variations and you cut as topics change throughout the interview, but 2, if you end up stuffing up a cut and you have to re-say it, you might have nailed the first part of the sentence in the first part, and then the second round, you butchered the first part, you nailed the second part. With the 2 camera setup, you just kind of Frankenstein those things together to say what we need to say, and the audience at the end is none the wiser. So if you ever feel like you're doing an interview and you're like, oh, I missed that, all you have to do is pause, wait a little bit, make sure you don't move too much, and just go again. And it'll all come out in the wash and get it in. And you can always do as many takes as you want. Don't feel like, oh, that take wasn't good enough, just do it again. It doesn't really matter unless you're under a massive time crunch. Yeah, try to do it as many times as you want. But I wouldn't, in saying that, I wouldn't get hung up on if you missed one word or something like that. Also, the emergence of AI these days, if we do an interview that's longer than 10 minutes, we can actually use a product called Overdub, which scans your interview and then allows us to put in like filler words and then if you miss sentence in your voice. So it's getting ridiculous. But it makes it really, really handy and really effective if you just happen to miss like an end or they or them or something and you can just slot it in and that normalizer. Do you want to jump on to the next one?
Yeah, so the other one is direct to camera. And that's essentially just looking directly down the barrel. It's a bit more of a less natural, a bit more for direct to the audience, what you really want to focus on. And it's just a bit more professional, a bit more corporate, but not as naturally on how the flow might end up being. So sometimes it can be a little bit better, sometimes it'll be a bit worse, depending on the situation.
Typically depends on how confident you are in front of camera. If you can feel as if you can just drop it and do it, or do it straight with teleprompter and you're sweet, it's a lot more time efficient. You can kind of do 2 takes and you're done, you're out the door. Think news, think press conferences, those types of things where you're trying to tell people something and convey a message and you want them to listen, so you're looking into their soul. And but I don't like it for the work that we do in terms of storytelling, because it can be dehumanizing and can sometimes be a bit too direct.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
No, man, that's great. Thank you so much. You'll notice they read off teleprompters are on either side and they kind of scan the room when they're doing press conferences, but if they need to do something that's like a press release when they're at the White House or something, you'll find they're looking at a teleprompter and looking straight down the barrel at you because they're trying to convey direct to whoever's watching, wherever the end audience is. So yeah, it all comes down to what is the overall message and how you what are you trying to portray, and what's the final deliverable. But we prefer this one
Yeah, absolutely.
so much more in terms of the way we work. Cool, do you want to jump to the next one? I think we're going to go get Kath now that me.
Yeah, so we can do, this is just some tips for yourself. So if you want to really be a bit more comfortable, it's often handy to have water with you, just take your timing in a quiet, closed-off environment to external distractions, that sort of thing. Repeating the question you answer, of course, and again, if you make a mistake, a lot of people tend to have this problem where they will get flustered, they'll swear, they'll get a bit annoyed at themselves. So really, it's just take a moment, just think about what you want to say, and just go from the top. It's simple as that. Yeah.
Having the water there is the big one. Like if you feel like you're just called up, just have a rest, have a sip, refresh your mouth. If you're doing it and it's like 10 minutes, you will find if you're talking all the time, it starts to dry out, you start to get fatigued. So yeah, it's all about just being comfortable, because the more comfortable you are, the more genuine you will sound.
Yeah. So we'll get on to questions. We'll get Kath to sit in the seat. And
Yeah, well, does anyone else want to volunteer as tribute?
we can provide you with the footage if you like, and you can use it in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all good. So feel free to move up so you can kind of see what the style is, and feel free to stand around and walk around and understand the setup a bit. Sorry if you quite challenge people, this one's really taller, you might be able to see that one. But Carol, if you want to jump in actually quickly.
Yeah.
If you guys want to come around here, I'll kind of show you what the style is. So we can obviously call this like a whitening shot. This will be the main frame that we use. Or if you want to thing up, there's a slight shadow.
Yeah, just
which is
seeing it. Oh, yeah, there you go, yeah.
So this is a 3-point lighting system. So we have a key light, which is usually the most direct on the face. Usually from the side, we have a fill, which fills in the other side, so it's not completely dark. And then off the back light provides a bit of ambience.
So in this setup, this is your key light. So this is the light, the main light that's shining on Callum. This is your fill light, just to fill the other side of his face. And then this is the background light, which is filling the rest of the room, so that this curtain over here isn't too much darker than the rest of the scene. The big thing is you can see the house lights, we call them, are off, because they are typically, depending on which office you're in, they're all different colours and styles and shapes.
I'll give it a show here. It looks so different. Probably completely overexposed. So
No, you're alright. Luckily, being in the comments, they've kind of actually
it's softer.
they've all made them at least the same colour.
Yeah.
But your corporate offices, you can have between
Does change the
lights and all lights.
And also light yellow.
So yeah, looking at these lights, you might go, oh, they're quite hospital, kind of quite blue in their tint, but they're actually, once it goes through colour, they're actually like 5700 Kelvin, which is pretty warm as far as drawing goes. So yeah, that's that one, and all this one is just a lot closer up, so it's more like shoulders to head, but this one is kind of.
So you would use both and then edit it as such?
Yeah. So typically this would be the main one.
Yeah.
This space allows you to put any kind of call outs of who the person is, any whatever it might be. And having him on this third of the frame, that's how that living space. And this is kind of, it's a safety plus, if you ever need to convey something or keep people entertained, that you can't fit this.
Right, okay.
And then typically you have, we call it B-roll, which is sort of supporting media that might go into it. So if this was, say this was a brand video for us, would then be pictures of us from cameras and things like that that would go into it as he's talking and online and whatever he's talking about.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the setup. It's pretty simple. It's nothing too complicated. It's more about, if you come around this side, you'll kind of notice it's relatively, if you're not used to it, it can be a bit intimidating. But we've made sure that the lights that are on you aren't too full on, but sometimes when you jump in interviews, they'll have like a massive fill light right in your face, and it's like, holy shit. But that one being kind of out of your eye line isn't too bad. But it's also, having two cameras like right there can be a bit daunting if you're not used to it.
So we need a test subject to sit on the seat.
It's alright, so who wants to jump in? Also tell us about the
Business. When you goes to it. Come on, Des. Come on, Des, you'd be good at it.
I might do it because I might need a bounce system at the moment.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Of course. We'll throw a mic on you, Damon. The mic on
Don't go get in.
Have you worn one of these before?
I never have, no.
This is just a little mic. Just all it is a tiny little mic that attaches to your jacket. Typically you hide it somewhere, but just for the sake of time, we won't worry about it too much. But if it just goes up your, sorry, what I might be is to go down your shirt with that, and that just clicks on your collar. Sorry?
And they can just come on the pocket or something.
Yeah, it goes anywhere, no matter where that goes. Right.
Oh, that one is it.
Oh, sweet. Sorry. Just pull the cable. There it is. Mic'd up. Just want to check audio for me. So I've got like 10 questions, and most of them are all about who you work for. This would be something kind of pretty generic, or what you might see in a brand interview or something.
Yeah, cool. And I'm looking at this.
Yeah, you're looking at me, yeah. Looking at me, or looking at my chest or my forehead, or past me, whatever's comfortable for you.
Okay.
Some people get a bit concerned, we're like, oh, I'll look right into you. Sweet. Can you just say your name? This isn't, we're not calling yet. Could you just say your name and where we are today?
My name is Desmond, and we're in the Commons, Cremorne.
That audio sound right?
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet. So Desmond, like I said, it's going to be like 10 questions, one of your name. So it's pretty
Nice.
easy.
Yeah.
Tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest one. Hard-hitting questions today. So, are you ready to go? Sweet. So, could you please start by introducing yourself, your role, and the company that you work for? Or
Yeah.
jobs?
Yeah, awesome. So my name is Desmond. I have a variety of different roles. I freelance in the startup event space. So I help run startups for startup support organisations, and then I have my own business doing tourism. And so I have a business called Drinking History Tours. We take people around town to some hidden bars and showcase some of the best of the hospitality scene. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Cool. So you missed it because it was just before you came in, but how we spoke about not talking too fast on camera. As you can tell, you're trying to get out as much information as you can. Just slow it down a little bit. Don't feel like you have to turn right everything all at once. You can kind of take your time with it. So your information was really good, though I would say, hi, I'm Desmond. I'm a freelancer and also do a few other things. The main thing I do, and we'll talk about the history tour stuff, and then just kind of break it down a little bit, make it easy to
Easy to understand.
Yeah, easy to ingest from the viewer.
Mm.
So I'll ask you that question again. Just do the 3 parts: yourself, what your typical role is, and then tell us a little bit about the company.
Mm.
So could you please introduce yourself, your role, and the company?
So my name is Desmond. I do a variety of freelancing roles with startup events, and then I have a separate business in tourism called Drinking History Tours.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about what Drinking History Tours is?
Yeah, so we do historic tours around Melbourne, and we also take people to some hidden bars around town and tell a lot of stories about the history of alcohol in Melbourne and just kind of history in general.
Wow. How did you get into that?
I had a friend, I've been tour guiding in Melbourne for about 9 years, and I had a friend who was trying to sell his business, so me and some friends took it off him.
Well, so how long have you been doing that for?
Since last week. Yeah. New financial year.
Yeah, nice.
Deadline.
Remember to repeat the question as you answer. So
Okay.
we've been doing this since last year. So
Okay.
Or since last week?
since last week.
Since last
Yeah.
So repeat the question.
Yeah,
so like-
how long have we done this for? We've been doing it for so many weeks.
So like when in English when people when your teacher was like always repeat the question your answer, it's similar to that. So,
Mm.
I'm not going to be in the final video and my voice isn't going to be in the final video, so you've got to kind of re-prompt yourself with the question so that everyone knows what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll ask you that last one. Says, how long have you been running the tours for?
How long have we been running the business for? About 10 days since last Monday.
How's that been?
It's been great so far. The winter is a bit quiet for tourism, although we are trying to tap into a bit more of the local domestic market. And yeah, we're just doing a lot of handover and trying to understand the operations of the business and set it all up for a successful summer ahead.
Nice. Your hand movements and the way you're changing your tonality throughout and your pacing is really good. It
Okay.
creates kind of good ebb and flow of the interview. You also notice.
natural it is.
What was that?
Yeah, I knew you were a natural.
You also note the second question I asked didn't need to be repeated because his response follows on pretty comfortably. Like it's been great. Like we're only right then it's been great. And so when we cut it, that'll make sense. It's more so when you do a context change that you need to repeat the question so people kind of know where you're going.
Yeah, when it gets over there.
Still on that topic, so what motivated you to pursue this new tours venture?
That's a long story. What motivated me to get into owning a tourism business? I've been working in the industry for about 9 years. Had taken some time off to work corporate during the pandemic and had a lot of enthusiasm for just the industry, the hospitality industry got hit very hard, obviously, in the longest lockdown. And so the opportunity for someone to hand over a business with existing infrastructure, there's a lot of assets that I wanted to acquire from that. And so being able to acquire it was a good learning opportunity for me, and it gives me an opportunity to operate a business without starting it from scratch.
Nice. That wasn't too bad. You jumped
Naturally
around.
talks fast.
Absolutely,
Yeah, you went towards that and you kind of tried to like,
Yeah,
hurry
yeah.
yourself up a little bit. So I always feel like you can pause and bring it back. You jumped around a little bit, but it wasn't too bad, and like we'll be able to be cut together pretty easily. But for each question, if you want to cover multiple things, try to cover one thing at a time. Do one, stop, and we'll flow into the next thing. And always, if you tell you, I haven't finished on that, but can you talk me into something else? I want to talk about this, rather than trying to fit heaps into kind of one paragraph, essentially. Sometimes overwhelm the viewer. We would typically, on that response just then, we'd probably cut that into 3 sections.
Just so it's easy to absorb.
Yeah, easy to understand. You don't want to give the viewer too many things to think about at once. People are slow. Slow. We're slow at ingesting content. And our attention spans are very short nowadays, so we want to keep people interested and keep them
Keep them scrolling,
Yeah, so then, in saying that, the average attention span of an online viewer currently is only 1.8 seconds. So unless you capture them in the first instance, they're gone. It's a little bit different when you like talk about a brand story, but that might be on your website already. But yeah, people are very short to.
So what catches you? What is it that?
It's your traditional stuff. It's your clickbait. It's a controversial topic, a controversial take, maybe something that's like, oh, I started this out of nothing, or like.
You're talking about things in the first second.
The first piece that hits. So I would probably say, I started this business 10 days ago. People are like, what? And they want to know more. So it's almost like a clickbait to drag people in.
I've also heard in videos if you do that. Have you seen that? Like people go, hey guys, it's my vlog today. And so like the hand movement when you're scrolling, is that right? Have you heard of that? Something about the hand movement? Humans see a hand and they go, oh, someone waving at me, and they stop. I've heard that's a thing,
It's a thing.
Starting with a human face or humans at the forefront definitely makes make people click and make people stay. If you scroll YouTube at any given point, anything that's in the top 50 has some sort of human doing something, either pulling a face, smiling, waving, all that. People like people. They want to see people. So.
I've also heard another hack is to say, you, like in the first few words, like, you won't believe what this person did with whatever content they're doing.
Okay.
That's that more clickbaity stuff. Again, depends on the message you're trying to portray. And it depends on the deliverable. If it's on socials, you kind of just like, you need to listen to this, something like that. A video like this and how we're set up today would be more something that would go like either direct email or on the website. So you're already sending it to a captured audience. So you don't have to be as clickbaity. But yeah, having something that kind of sparks someone's interest to go, oh wow, okay, I'm gonna keep watching. It's always important. That's probably not as important. Well, it doesn't really fall under the how to be better at yourself on camera, but it's always something good to think about doing creative stuff. Cool, so we'll continue on. We've got a couple more. You've kind of covered a lot of it already. So, I don't really fit being on 10 days old. So how many people are there in the team?
In the team, that's a good question. How many people are there? There's 3 business owners that we've all taken the business with, and then there's 2 other staff on top of us as well.
Awesome. So what's the business model look like? Tell us about if you're a customer, what's the customer journey?
What's the customer journey? Pretty straightforward. If you've ever booked online for any type of tourist experience, it's pretty similar. So you pay for a ticket and then you have the experience there as well. So it's a 3-hour tour of the best bars of Melbourne with a lot of history facts as well. And yeah, it's hopefully have a great time.
Awesome.
Didn't quite know how to finish that one.
Yeah, you're just a little bit fast as well.
Yeah.
So we'll do that one again. Tell us about, probably make this customer journey either. So tell us about what's the customer experience like? What can a customer expect? Sorry, ask it again. What can a customer expect from a tour?
What a customer can expect from the tour is to learn a lot about the history of Melbourne, the history of alcohol in Melbourne, to learn some fun facts they may not have learned before, and to visit some of the best hidden bars around Melbourne.
Awesome. Is there any tips and tricks you can give us off the cuff?
Any tips and tricks around visiting bars in Melbourne, or just any fun facts around Melbourne?
Is there any hot secrets you can give us?
There's a lot of haunted laneways, apparently. But I think there's a lot of interesting facts around the alcoholic history of Melbourne and pubs in general. You might notice a lot of older pubs called hotels because of a lot of historic liquor licensing laws that made it difficult to run a business, difficult to have a drink after 6 p.m. But it was the casino that actually changed a lot of the liquor laws in Melbourne, and that allowed it made it a lot easier for small businesses to open in laneways, and that's why you have a lot of the best hidden bars are in some of Melbourne's smallest laneways, because of the casino.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
And that's probably a bit too much information. That probably requires a full tour to get the context.
If you were thinking this whole video was a creative piece, having that little bite of information to go, oh, I didn't realise that's all laneways. You kind of have that at the end, and people want to know more, then or they click through and want to actually, So you're giving people a little taste test of what you guys do.
Hasn't plugged out a book yet.
Plug the book.
How to book tour.
Oh, yeah. Like and subscribe to
So what is people's best way to get in contact with you?
With me personally, probably by LinkedIn. Contact me via...
In terms of the company, so we're talking the brand video. So if people are excited about tours and want to get involved, how do we get involved with you guys?
Yeah, just Google search Drinking History Tours. That's the best way to get involved. Alternatively, www.drinkinghistorytours.com.
Sweet. I think you'd probably have enough there to put a little piece together. We're going to go back and cut a little piece together for you.
Yeah,
Get some B-roll.
You do drink on this.
Oh, I didn't drink for 10 years, but I started drinking red wine last year.
No, but people drink on the tour.
Oh, people drink on the New South Wales, do I drink on the tours?
Because drinking history.
Yeah. It's optional, but most people want to have a drink. That's part of the expectation. Yeah.
It's not just the history.
So we're going to put a little piece together.
Yeah.
We'll find some B-roll at the bars and stuff in Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
And we'll send it out to all you guys too, so you can kind of see the example of what a month like.
Right, that's excellent.
But as you can see, it's kind of just, you're really good at just being yourself. Kind of when you got into the flow, you were talking with your hands. You could tell that you're passionate about the topic you're talking about. And that kind of comes across, and it'll come across in the video as well. That's very evident.
But you can probably tell because it is so new that I'm still finding ways of how to word. Because it is so recent.
That just comes with time. And as you refine your brand voice, that'll come through. But you nailed it.
Thank you. Cheers. Who's next?
Good job. Want to have a go?
I'm okay. No. I'm underway with this, so that's all good.
Is there any questions? This is kind of like the official component. Completely.
Yeah, no.
What's your turnaround? So, like, what in terms of, I guess it depends on the scene, or after you do it, to be like this in a year?
Typically within the week, you have what you call a rush, which is just the raw video cut into a story. And that's how it goes. Here's the story of the cut or a rush.
So,
Give us your feedback on, are we going in the right direction? Are we not? Here's some other variations. There might be 2 or 3 goes, or the best 2 takes at a different question. Can we get that input? So that kind of depends on what the type of client is and whether they've got that industry background or not. Ideally, yeah, it's like story cut, that then gets logged, then it's another week or so to do all the other pieces together, and then 2 weeks to a month to finish a video like this is pretty standard. But yeah, 2 to 3 weeks post finishing is
Depending on the complexity, we do a lot of sound mixing, color grading, that sort of thing. That can take up to 2 weeks additionally.
Do you do that with yourself?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we've got it all in house at the moment. We do have a couple of remote editors, but that's more for our social media side of things, or using this video and cutting it down into other separate pieces. Well, the benefit of interview stuff is you're getting so much content that can be cut down into other pieces and into social content.
Yeah.
So where do you see AI affecting all this when you've got enough video of somebody that you can just put the words into their mouth?
Yeah, so we probably run what the recording was. It was probably around 10 to 15 minutes of recording time with your voice. So we pushed that through the AI program to scan and get the likeness of your voice. And then around to, if we need to, we can adjust and add words underneath.
You wouldn't be saying anything with the time of future. ChatGPT.
So you can put anything in his mouth.
You can, like, it's not that good yet. We
It'll
find
get better and better.
yeah, it's just going to get better.
Does it do the video as well?
No, it's just audio. Yeah, so you have to use like B-roll or a cut to something else, but that's easy enough done. Like think of it for your video example. If you say missed the end or missed the ending word or said something wrong, we can adjust it. We just put a clip of like a bar there over that part of the audio and it nullifies that. It's been really effective in some videos of people have flown into state for interviews. They're back home 2 weeks after doing a story about some stuff.
And what were the AI tools you use?
It's called Descript.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more popular. It's even as if you're just an amateur editing your own work, it's quite a good editor as well. Yeah, we use it pretty regularly now, actually. Yeah, I think so. That's that. At the end of the day, you can do as much research and things into this, but it's all about just being in front of camera. So you get better at it. It's like a muscle, you need to train it. It's not hard to find at it, so you just need to do the hard work. One really effective way that I've found is we've been doing all of our end of week syncs and end of day syncs through Loom, or just on a call. I just told the director and camera helping the team, and it's just been a really easy way to get those hours in and train. And it's only for a sync, so it's never going to sit like day anyway, so we can get ahead of it. Yeah, I'm getting a lot better at doing it.
Yeah.
If you want somebody to be interviewing, is there any much difference from what you did?
As the interviewer.
In the camera.
In,
So you were there interviewing.
yeah.
Is there much difference in what you?
So from my point of view,
If you were both in the camera.
oh, if there's 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably have setups where it's like 1 and 2 and 2 cameras on each single person. If it's 2 people, yeah. Sometimes 2 can be really good because you can play off each other and things like that, but it kind of depends on the video. Typically, if it's 2 people, like 2 partners in a company or something, we do them together, for the introduction and a few pieces, then we interview them separately as well.
Right.
It does, again, curb the nerves. If you're in camera with someone else being there, you kind of play off them, you don't have to look at the cameras, you can talk to each other. Or you can interview each other and have, like they do like 60 minutes or something, and have 2 cameras either side, then be like kind of interviewing each other. But it's a different style of video. It's more of a conversational piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That was good. Terrific.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
So you're up and running, mate?
Yeah, pretty quickly. Yeah, how you guys doing?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Thanks very much.
So yeah, just in the open desk
I think
area for
it's
now. Yeah.
cool.
But we might end up moving to level 1.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah,
Good. So I'll get a gang together and do
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll see you,
The golf shoot.
I'll send you a link. I'll send it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get to hear any thoughts, or especially when you got working on the background with your OTA.
Yeah.
Because we're just like very and then
Yeah.
2 years I've had stuff on.
Yeah,
Couldn't get out
yeah.
because
Because
of
you ready to.
Oh, yeah, you've got
they go crazy.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
They start studying when they make up during the
first few
day.
months just understanding exactly how to handle it.
Yeah.
It was really helpful, learning a lot.
Make sure I'm there.
And everyone was spoken to,
There's so
which
much
was
that-
like, oh, we'll just start
That's
thinking about
good.
it. Oh, you could.
We'll send
It's not
through
much,
the
like,
PowerPoint
No,
slides to-
no.
And like, all this stuff, and we've got 60 hours of consulting
Yeah.
so through, so extracting his.
Should we get your email?
Yeah, really well, actually. Yeah. You guys were busy at March,
Yeah, it was pretty
We
good.
got a
I'm sorry,
A lot of
actually.
incentive has gone away now.
Oh.
So
I do.
people to do things. And your financial year, you know, a little bit still a bit of activity. So, yeah, it's not like it used to be many years ago where there were a lot of investment loans and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sales.
But yeah, those did have one reasonably large transaction. Yeah, on the Friday, up until the Friday before. When was the end of the year? So over the Sunday, or on the Friday, up until then, the client would go, no, we don't need to do it. Just do it. Yeah, which
I'm friends
calls me
with
on Friday.
her.
Well, it's just- I just spoke to her. I didn't tell her what it was actually hit.
Oh,
We got
yeah.
that, we got that, we got that. So,
Yeah. You guys want to say something?
I am, Michael's here, so.
Oh, you free?
Do you know Des, Michael?
Where are you? Because we know, this time 2 years ago, we were
Yeah, we were, yeah, absolutely.
The AI space is very interesting.
Yeah, are you still there?
Level 1.
Did you have a dedicated desk?
No, no.
Okay.
Just
But yeah, I'm working at home most of the time. It's right over there.
You need some form?
Yeah, it's
Only on the week the night of the. But I haven't been there.
I say you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that all right?
I'll do sorry, I forgot.
I was actually going to take a walk over there this afternoon.
Yeah.
I went there yesterday in the open area.
Yeah, it's
Good
good
stuff.
It was just me. There was nobody. Just me.
It's also a watch day.
I think it's like
I would have thought.
we use it like
I was only there
Creative
a
writing.
couple of hours.
Everyone's just.
And I literally had it all myself.
Yeah. No, I might.
Which was nice.
Yeah, well, it's quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good. Yeah, you too. Good to see you. Good to see you. Take care. Hope it all goes well.
Yeah, thanks for that. We'll see how we go.
I'll get some hope to get on.
Yeah, I'll show you some details.
We do some bar hopping, so I'd love to do that.
Good. You know, all the fun facts. 6 o'clock swim.
See you guys.
Oh, those were the days. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Occasionally someone doesn't, but
So it's Neil, N-E-I-L,
looking good.
at OPIBUS, O-P-I-B-U-S, finance.com.au.
What type of finance?
So I do business
thanks so
development.
much. I'll have the details from Karen.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
You're on the bottom one too, about something.
Yeah. They say they'll put it, but
Yeah, we got the video in
It's
here.
SME businesses, so that's all businesses.
Thank you guys. Cheers.
Assets, this sort of stuff, assets, planning for cash flow, debtors, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, please do, absolutely, yeah,
Fucking cash flow.
please do. You know, there's some great facilities around today for businesses like.
I showed the government pay slot.
Oh, yeah. They pay, fuck no, they pay slow. The most recent one was 120 days.
You know, people aren't, that's the problem. I mean, I'm literally upstairs doing one at the moment for a lady who contacted me yesterday and we'll have it done for her this afternoon. She'll have a facility in place for her this afternoon. So yeah, there's lots of good, but that is a common problem. People aren't being paid.
I've noticed that this year alone, that when our average pay went from 30 days, which is normal, like that's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, from 30 to 45.
Mm.
in the first quarter of this year. Like, yeah, okay, everyone's feeling it.
Yeah.
Just don't pay the wages, it's fine.
Well, that's the problem. You've got fixed costs that you have to
Yeah.
and
Because we pay
makes it
water,
really hard.
right? It's like, well,
Yeah.
for every 30 days is 2 cycles. It's,
Mm. Yeah. No. So I can certainly, there's stuff I can do to help you out if you want. Yeah, drop me an email and do that. And they're pretty easy to set up. And yeah.
Yeah, because we even tried trying to get cash in, getting go-kartless implemented and things like that.
Yep.
And the resentment for people to sign up to things like that too now.
Right, yeah, you've got that.
I'm not signing up.
Yeah, and that's the challenge, isn't it? There's some really good stuff around, some good tech.
If you're not going to sign up,
Oh, that's the thing.
I
People are
can't.
suspicious about stuff too.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like, well, if you're not going to sign up to that, fucking bill.
Yeah, exactly.
All I want is the money that you owe me.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
crazy.
yeah. No, it's and what people will do. Well, we've got a client who is my daughter's partner. He runs an electrical business, and he's really good at what he does. But he works for a lot of the construction guys and whatnot, and they just don't pay. They just don't pay. But they're driving around in their new cars and they're just finance new cars and all that sort of stuff. But oh, we haven't got any money to pay you.
Bills are the worst.
And of course, when you're a contractor, you're at the bottom of the food chain, and you get left having to pay all your bills and whatnot, and
Yeah.
supplies and whatever, and you're not getting
When the
paid.
company disappears,
Yeah,
up for.
yeah. So it's really challenging. But there is some really
They're good.
really good facilities
Yeah,
there
exactly.
to kind of assist with that.
The
So
one thing is I found the defence contractors phenomenal.
yeah, well that's good. That's good. Well, I've just in the midst of doing a deal.
So
at the
usually
moment
just
for
in
a
the
contractor
open
that's state
desk
government.
as
Yeah,
You're
we've
doing
done
it.
it.
He's not getting paid.
Started
State
and
government.
we don't know.
Should be paid 30, 45 days. It's been paid
How was
180 days.
I just wanted to use it for New South Wales state.
He goes to-
They wanted us to get
Over in Collingwood.
houses
Yeah.
in